Hey friends, today's conversation is going to be around attention, something that I've said a lot here in the last little bit, and why I keep bringing this to your attention is currently, as we move from the cross of planning and the cross of Maia, which is very tribal, very logical in its focus in our background frequency, and we shift and we move over to the sleeping phoenix and the cross of penetration, which is mostly individual, a little bit of tribal, and only one activation of collective energy, which is all about having an experience. But I want you to understand something is that as we squeeze through, and the keys, that sleeping phoenix, or sorry, that the cross of planning and the cross of the Maia, as those keys pop out of the lock and the new keys of the sleeping phoenix and the cross of penetration pop into the lock, there's this moment in time where we've squeezed down, we're here to get everything that we can out of the evolution that was here for the last 412 years. Now we're leaning into a new evolutionary period. So there's this squeezing of all that we can possibly get. And of course, what is involved in this last 412 years was the ninth gate. And the ninth gate is all about attention. And this is the number one, like if we have never seen marketing as heavy as it has been in the last, let's say 50 years, it has been insane how we market everything. There's marketing everywhere. There's ads everywhere. And it's nobody's fault. It was the background frequency of trying to get your attention. Okay. Trying to sell you a solution, because that's what the 16 wants to do. It wants to bring in money for the solution. Okay. So in saying all of that, discernment right now and decision-making is critical as we move through the next few years here, as up into 2027, when those new keys come into the locks. We're going to see this huge uptick in delusional solutions. And why do I say delusion? Well, let me just pull you into just a reminder of what's going on here in these two crosses. We are first line beings right now as a collective. We're in this first line energy. And what does that first line energy do? Well, it wants to have a solid foundation. Okay. And here's what's really interesting is that the 16th gate is delusional. So the pattern is this delusion from 1958. Now, why am I taking you down this path of understanding delusion and understanding where your focus is going? Okay. Again, all by design. It's not good, bad, right, wrong. It just is. Once we can lean into the neutrality of something and not give it a meaning, not create a, oh, well, they did wrong to us, or this is wrong, or that's bad, or this is good, or this is bad, then all of a sudden what we see is that the incident happened, and now we just move forward based off of our own discernment of that without any kind of measurement. Because what design tells you in discernment is that there's a body intelligence that will move you, that will accept an invitation, that will feel the initiation and move forward, that will respond to the requests of the energy. Okay. So I'm bringing that to your attention so that you can lean deeper into your own discernment process. Because at this particular point in time, there's these beautiful things called deep fakes. Probably a lot of you guys have heard about this. And these deep fakes are artificial intelligence that look or have this perception to look like a human being. The voiceover sounds like that person's voice, but none of it is true. It is completely fake. So we're seeing a lot of that. And let me just tell you again that I am a level, non-rotational earth. I don't really want to say the word belief because it isn't a belief, but witnesser and watcher at this point. So the delusions started back in 1958, where the mind could be tricked into putting focus onto things that may or may not serve the individual, but really serves the collective and the tribe. Again, all planned out. It was all designed to be that way. And it's okay. It's totally okay. But now it is for you to recognize that there is a new way of being, that you get to use the intelligence of this, vessel, this body, this intellectual property that is yours. And now you get to make decisions from that space instead of a mind that can be tricked. Hypnosis, for example, where most of us, the marketing field that was trying to get attention is a hypnotic aspect. And through hypnosis, we can trick anybody into seeing, thinking, or believing whatever it is that we want them to see, think, or believe. Virtual reality. Put on a set of goggles and now you're in a totally different world and your body can't tell the difference because the mind is tricking it. So how can you tap back into your own discernment process and not allow for your mind to trick you? This is going to really sound super freaking simple. However, what we do is we give a lot of give a lot of weight to trying to defend our not self, trying to defend things that we don't know. So how can you actually make a decision and know that it is correct for your physical body? Is because once you come to this space where you can live in a neutral witnessing space, it's the neutrality of just seeing something and not giving it any measurement, because the mind wants to measure. Oh, that is good. This is bad. Oh, taxes are bad. I'm worried about my bills. Oh, that person wronged me. My family totally sucks because all of this stuff is happening to me. Now, all of a sudden, all of the perception and the mental capacity gets shifted. There's this change that happens. And instead of being focused on the intelligence of the physical body, we become focused on a collective perception that may or may not be true. So deep fakes are doing that deeply. And the not self constantly pulls us into the distraction of what's that other person doing? What are they doing? Why are they doing this wrong? Oh, they shouldn't be doing that. They should be doing this. This should be happening. But once we just come to that neutrality, okay, the experience is there, is presenting itself. Now, how can we participate with it? So I'm going to give you some experience or some examples here of just random charts that I pulled out of my system. Okay, it's just random charts so that we can take a look at how the not self will just constantly be pulling. So we can see here that this human has a beautiful split definition. So these 4 centers are defined, and these 2 centers are defined, and there's a split. So the main focus for the conditioning is going to be here in the 17 and there in the 23. But what I'm going to say to you is, most likely it's the 17. Why? Because we have this beautiful gate of doubt up here. The role of the gate of doubt is to get suspicious about a pattern. But this human being doesn't have any solutions. They're designed to take that doubt and move it through their abstract process of thinking, seeing it as a sequence, seeing it as a story. And then conceptualizing that realization, and then internally hearing the breakthrough. Okay, internally hearing the breakthrough. But most likely, what is taking place is that there's so much pressure here in that doubt to articulate the pattern that they will most likely try very hard to bypass their abstract mind, try to come up with solutions on their own, and then create opinions that they think are their own, and then articulate. Not waiting for a breakthrough, not waiting to actually recognize the sequencing of the pattern. So there's all kinds of not self-pressure here. So instead of attracting in someone that has the solutions or listening to the opinions of others, this human being will get very, very caught up in using a mental capacity of trying so hard to formulate answers and trying so hard to create their own opinions that they've lost themselves. They've lost how their mind actually works. So the focus, even though this is a defined head center, this is a defined ajna, and you might go, but Leann, there's no not self here, they're defined. That definition houses a lot of unhealthy activity. So one of the things Ra always said was, because the openness allows for the receptivity to come in, the experiences to come in, but what 9 times out of 10, what we will do is we will take those experiences, we will stuff them down into what is defined in us, okay? We'll stuff them in there and we'll force them to only come out through the not self. Because this is what we call misinterpretation. This is a misinterpretation. We have experiences and then we misinterpret them. And what do I mean by misinterpret? Well, this person is actually designed to wait for formulas to show up so that they can respond to them. They are designed to wait for opinions so that they can respond to them and then allow for the correct timing so that they can participate with that formula or that opinion or not, based off of a response over time. Here's what's most likely happening. They're hurrying up and proving without flexibility that their opinion and that their solution or their formula, their answer is the only one. All incorrect, all not self. All of it creating a frustration, a deep frustration. However, when this person just sits back, okay, takes the time to lean into contemplation, to just be a role model, to actually allow for this beautiful beat that flows through them, this beat of life. They're responding. They're having all kinds of different experiences that just come, they go. At times they're cautious. At times they just abandon that caution and they lean into a new experience. And they allow for the abstract mind to just have these beautiful, beautiful breakthroughs based off the experience so that they can converse and talk and share the magical, influential voice that they have. And they make the commitment to just flow and nurture themselves and others. They either accept or decline how they're going to use their energy. They lean into this beautiful, innocent, this priestess energy. And they just focus in, concentrate in on how to just be individual in all of that. Totally different story. Now, there's no more exhaustion because they're responding to life. There's no more exhaustion because they can taste what is correct for them or not. So instead of tasting frustration, they're satisfied that they're being used correctly, that their experiences are just transitory. They can see the sequence. They can still doubt the pattern. But when they just relax in and wait and allow for the acoustical breakthrough to happen, it's different. It's totally different. But in their younger life, when they were so inflexible about opinions or about formulas, that caused a lot of havoc in their lives. When they tried to hurry and get those formulas out to market, hurry up, their adrenals collapsed. And when they were constantly looking for approval from the tribe, from the collective, from other people, they became exhausted. Always coming out, being called out incorrectly for that 4th gate and that 17th gate. Always constantly being pulled out there. Now you might go, Leann, why do you keep focusing on the 4? Because there's so much pressure here with that 62 pointing up and that 63 pointing down. There's only one individual activation, one abstract activation. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the 4 and the 17. And again, it just comes from experience and having conversations with your clients, and you'll begin to see how these things take place. So all those times that they were called out for formulas and opinions became a space where they hated their job. They absolutely, this human being hated their job, hated it. They created a network of people that wasn't right for them. Totally wasn't right. As well, why do I focus on the 4 and the 17? Is we have someone here who is a very strategic and active brain-body system. So they want to be in this linear space. They want to be logical. They want to be active. They want to be moving forward in that logical energy field. Okay. So again, why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because we can easily get caught up in the not self. We can easily force ourselves to start creating stories, opinions, conceptualizations that actually are not ours. And then what we do is we stuff all of that stuff down into our cellular structure. We stuff all that frustration, all that anger, all that bitterness. We're stuffing it in there. And then our definition has a hard time actually coming forward and being seen, because this not self is getting in the way. So why do I say pay attention to where you're putting your focus? Well, if you understand your design, you then can see the difference between how you're representing your definition, or how you're purposefully or unpurposely stuffing that definition down and operating through the not self. And now our attention span gets skewed, and we fall for the delusion. And it's going to get very delusional here. All the delusions are going to get squeezed down. And those that have already, started to loosen up and allow for the integration of their own designs to happen, they're breaking free from the delusion. So they're being able to recognize how, movies and NASA and so many of these other places, Disney, Hollywood, all of that became a space where we fell into this delusional world. Instead of being able to be neutral and just sitting back and watching, and then using our own inner authority to make the discernment and participate, we fell into a delusion, including me. I was there. Now we get to pull out of the delusion. We don't have to fall for that pattern that was there, okay, that way of being anymore. And now we get to lean into integrating an entirely new attitude. And really what that attitude is being able to see situations neutrally and then participate with them based on the intelligence of the body. So the body knows, it's intelligent, it is intuitive, it is instinctual, it has deep awareness built right into the cells on what to connect with and what not to connect with. So the deep fakes that are out there, these real falsified videos they're everywhere. They're actually on LinkedIn too. I was totally shocked to see that. But yeah, they're everywhere. And being able to recognize what you want to participate with and what you don't want to participate with. Okay. So the whole point of this, lean deeper into your discernment. Okay. So something that we just spoke about in the mentorship this week was around the 2027 shift. We're going to be tapping into that a little bit more as we go along in the next few weeks, and how to build businesses differently, because in that new energy field that's hitting us in 2027, the 54 is there. And now we have the capacity, as that 6-line energy is going to be in the background for us all, those that are awakened, to absolutely be the role models that we want to represent on this planet. So no longer is it losing focus, forcing ourselves to utilize our mental capacity to say, oh, well, so-and-so, this happened to me and that happened to me and this is happening. So I can't, I can't operate a business. I can't be a really good spouse. I can't do this and I can't do that. And again, I get it. Most of what has happened in our lives has caused us trauma because we misunderstood why we were having those experiences. Some of the experiences, of course, were very inhumane, and I totally get that. I totally understand that. However, in those most inhumane moments, I have seen how a human being steps out of that experience with an entirely new attitude, and you have the opportunity to do that as well. So if you want to join in on our mentorship, know that that's still available. It's open to everyone. Our real formation of this foundational group has been absolutely magical. What is being shared inside of that mentorship. We're building businesses. We are leaning deeper into who we are and just releasing how the not self wants to witness the world and going back into the discernment and the correctness of who we are. So everything's in the description below. If you want to work with me one-on-one, if you want to, jump into the self-study, or you really want to be in a group of like-minded people and a mentorship that will, really allow you to integrate who you are, that's the space to be. All right, friends, thank you. And pay attention to where you're putting your attention.